then we're going to be jumping into the second question with you, Bruno. And then obviously been in the commercial property space for quite some time, whether buying and selling, just different strategies and advisory for investors. One pertinent question currently right now is whether in terms of buying property, so there's these two legs. So buying property, is it better now to buy property outright, or is it also a better option rather to buy shares in a company that owns the property? So maybe just touch on both and just outline some of the detail for our listeners, please.
Sure. So we'll probably end up having to break this into different pieces across like several questions. I won't be able to answer everything today because I mean there's a multitude of different scenarios that can play out when considering whether to buy a property in a company or buying the property outright. So I suppose maybe the easiest way to start off with is from a risk perspective. Buying the property outright is probably the best, right? So this is, if you look at the balancing of the different investment pillars when it comes to legal and tax, is you always look for things like the asset protection side, the tax efficiency, and where you can get money from, what bank would be willing to finance you. So those are the three basic pillars for all investors. And you need to look at those quite deeply before ever acquiring any property from an investment perspective or any business. This is a business strategy, right? So that's the first thing to look at. So from an asset protection perspective, buying into a company, buying shares is a mission. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. There's a lot of due diligence that one need to attend to. And I'm happy next week to speak a little bit more about what can happen if a person buys into a company and what you should do and how you should go about doing it. But to answer the question as simply as possible, if you're risk averse or if this is your first investment, try buy the property outright, because at least you're only buying that one asset. And it's only that asset that you need to look at. It's only due diligence on that asset. You pay for it. It might cost you a little bit extra from a tax perspective, but at least you're good. You've mitigated all risks. And you can focus only on one thing. Maybe next week we'll take it one step further and ask ourselves, well, maybe it's my second, third, fourth, fifth property. I want to be smart about how I do this. Or maybe the company has an assessed loss or whatever. Then we can start looking at, okay, great. What are the implications of buying shares versus buying the property outright?
Well, there you have it. So thank you very much, Bruno. So we're looking forward to some of those answers going into the next couple of weeks. And that does bring us to the end of our first episode of the year. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.